Friday, April 21st, 2017 here on the Patriots Beat Podcast. On this episode, we break down the craziness that was Aaron Hernandez's Patriots career and I guess the rest of his life as well. And we will also be talking about the Mike Gillislee deal and the fact that James White just got one of the best extensions that the Patriots could have given out. All that and more on this episode of the Patriots Beat Podcast.
This is Larry H. Russell speaking on behalf of the network, thanking you once again for downloading the Patriots Beat podcast here on CLNS Radio, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage for New England professional sports. Download the free CLNS Radio mobile app for your iPhone or Android for immediate and convenient access to all the content available on the CLNS Radio YouTube channel, podcasting network, and clnsradio.com. Now, on to another edition of Patriots Beat. Take it away, Harris.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Patriots Beat Podcast. I am your a little bit sick host, Harris Rubenstein. Very happy to be with you guys on this lovely Thursday afternoon. Obviously, recording this on a Thursday before the show gets released on a Friday. But boy, oh boy, remember to go find us on Facebook.com/CLNSfans and go find us on Twitter at CLNS Radio and go find me at CLNS_Sportstein. Well, team, excuse my random sniffling throughout the show. I have like a 5% cold right now, and it's annoying. It's like one of those weird colds where it only affects one nostril. So I apologize if my voice is a little bit annoying, and it kind of sucks because we actually have a lot to talk about today, finally, for the first time in a week and a half. So the Patriots decided to basically lock up the entire running back position for the next 3 years by signing James White to a big-time extension and giving Mike Gillislee, I believe, $6.4 million over 2 years in an offer sheet with, I believe, $4 million guaranteed in the first year. So what does this all mean for the Patriots running back position? And we'll get to Aaron Hernandez in a little bit. You know, we'll get to Aaron Hernandez. But anyway, we'll start with the running back position. So Patriots give 2 years and I believe $6.4 million to Mike Gillislee from the Buffalo Bills. What does this tell us? Well, first of all, this tells us that LeGarrette Blount is officially gone. Adios. Thank you for your service to this team. It sucks to see you go, but I do believe that LeGarrette Blount is now officially gone. No more LeGarrette Blount. They signed a younger model to more money. Mike Gillislee actually, surprisingly, was one of the most efficient running backs in the entire NFL, as was Rex Burkhead. So it's interesting to see how exactly they like to build the running back position. And clearly they're going with a very advanced statistic kind of way. I believe if you look at the running backs they have right now, it's like a 4th-round pick, a restricted free agent, a 6th-round pick, an undrafted free agent, and a trade. So clearly the Patriots getting a lot of value out of that running back position, getting some really good late-round value and value on some restricted free agents and whatnot. So I'm big time when it comes to this whole Mike Gillislee thing. I absolutely love this contract. I think Mike Gillislee is actually a really good running back, and he's now going to be your thumper. They always have a thumper. They've been looking around for a new one this year, and there you go. They got their guy. I really do think that they've been trying to get Mike Gillislee for a couple of years now. I think they brought him in for a visit last year as well, if that was legal. I just know that they were actually pretty big fans of Mike Gillislee for a long time now. He's a very good player. He's a very good running back, and I think he will do very well on this Patriots team. Big time move for Mike Gillislee. So the other big move that they made at the running back position, we're going to break down the Aaron Hernandez thing on the second half of the show before we bring in Ben Natan, which Ben Natan is a big draft nick on Twitter. Guy is a footballist for Bleeding Green, does a lot of good stuff for the Philadelphia Eagles blog, but is just one of the better draft guys on Twitter in general. He does go to NYU, so we'll give him a little bit of crap for that. But no, he'll be on later to do our draft segment with us. But for now, let's talk about this James White extension. Let me just quickly pull it up here. So James White obviously getting rewarded for what was an absolutely outstanding Super Bowl for him. 14 catches, 127 yards. 127 yards. So they give James White a 3-year extension worth $12 million. He'll receive $4.7 million, in guaranteed money and could earn up to $15 million if he maxes out his contract. White was only set to make about $700K next season. So obviously a big-time extension for James White. I think that they have seen over the past couple years their really good pass-catching running backs leave for big-time money. Obviously, Danny Woodhead left, and then obviously after Danny Woodhead, Shane Vereen left for big money. And now here we are with James White also getting his big money. $12 million a year is not a lot of money the Patriots need to be doling out. I think it was a perfect amount of money. Good extension for James White. He's going to be their pass-catching running back out of the backfield. This does put a lot into question over what's going to happen to Dion Lewis after this year, as well as what DJ Foster's future with this team is. However, James White might just be better than both of them right now, so might not be the worst thing that they signed James White to an extension. Guy's young, guy's talented, he's in the system, he's performed well, he did great in the Super Bowl on a big stage. I think it is a high-quality extension for the Patriots, and I think it's something they should do more like this in the future. So this really seals up the running back position for the Patriots for a pretty long time to come. Obviously now your running back position is Gillislee, James White, Dion Lewis, Rex Burkhead, let's see, who else? And DJ Foster. So that's your top 5 right now when it comes to running backs. Maybe they bring in 1 or 2 for camp, maybe. I can't really see them bringing in Blunt. I think this is the end of the New England Patriots and LeGarrette Blunt. But I feel like he'll go somewhere, have 1 or 2 good games. Everyone will go, oh, should the Patriots have re-signed him? But then in the long run, people will realize that they made the right move. I think they made the right move. I think LeGarrette Blunt, this is going to sound really funny. You want to know why they cut him or they're not going to re-sign him? It's because he fumbled in the Super Bowl. You've one job in the Super Bowl, and it's to not fumble, and he fumbled. And I don't think Belichick is going to put up with something like that. They're not going to reward a big-time fumble in the Super Bowl. They're going to reward James White for putting up 14 catches, 127 yards, and 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's what they're going to reward. They're not going to reward a fumble in the Super Bowl and a big error like that. So maybe it's a reason. I'm going to go on a limb and say that it is. I think the Patriots are petty like that, and I think they do I think they do take advantage of people in that kind of way. So if you're the New England Patriots, you got to be happy where your running back core is. If you're LeGarrette Blunt, you got to be kicking yourself over that Super Bowl fumble, a win or not. But if you're the Patriots Beat podcasting, you're going to be kicking yourself if we don't talk about the Aaron Hernandez situation. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to break down all of that madness and more. It's a new year, which means a fresh start for your business. And a great year starts with making great hires. But posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you just need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter, you can jumpstart your hiring in 2017. Post your job to 200-plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses. And right now, my listeners can post job on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. So one more time, try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/SPORTSFAN. All right, team, it is now time for us to break down something that I've been waiting a very long time to talk about. Oh, goodness. So, yesterday ended, obviously me recording this on Thursday, April 20th, to be released on Friday, April 21st. Yesterday, one of the great disappointments in the history of the NFL finally came to an end as Aaron Hernandez reportedly committed suicide inside of his prison cell. Now, we're not going to talk about, whether or not, he actually killed himself, because there's that crazy rumor going around Twitter. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about how tragic his death might have been. No, instead, I'm not going to glorify his death at all. I'm here to talk about how good riddance, man. Good riddance. This was one of the dumbest people ever. This was one of the craziest, most psychotic people in the history of the NFL. Good riddance. The guy was given a $40 million NFL contract to play a sport, to play a game for the rest of his time professionally. But instead, he chose to be a thug, he chose to be a gang leader, and he chose to murder his brother-in-law and then played a part in murdering two other people. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm someone who really appreciates the good in the world and whatnot. So when I see someone evil like Aaron Hernandez just leave the world, I'm very happy, because we don't need those kinds of people anymore. We don't need murderers. We don't need guys who are given everything on a silver platter once they get out of college to just throw it away by murdering people. He didn't do drugs. He didn't, what are some of the other bad things the NFL deems? He didn't do drugs. He didn't take performance enhancers. He didn't do anything like that. No, he murdered someone and then played a part in doing it to two other people. Good riddance. I'm seeing a lot of these people on Twitter showing remorse, saying, rest in peace to this guy. It's like, why? He proved everything that was wrong with sports and with the sports culture of idealizing these athletes, despite us not really knowing who they are. I mean, the New England Patriots are one of the most meticulous teams in the entire NFL when it comes to background searches of players, knowing their guys, all that stuff. But this guy slipped through the cracks in the worst way possible. He slipped through the cracks as a murderer. He wasn't just some gang lord. He murdered people. It is baffling to me. And it's also kind of baffling from the Patriots' point of view that they are so meticulous, that they are so smart about things, that they are so careful with players, and they missed it. Totally missed it. And it was always so interesting to me that they enjoyed drafting people so much from that crazy Florida team, which were just full of bad dudes. Oh, that Florida team was so many punks. And they took Hernandez. I don't know, man. Good riddance, if you're going to ask me. A guy who, again, was given everything on a silver platter and at every single turn decided to do the wrong thing. and eventually did the most selfish thing you can do and took his own life. Whether he did or he didn't, who really knows? But, I can't really say that the world is a worse place now that Aaron Hernandez is out of it. I really can't say too much. But anyway, we're going to have enough of that depressing conversation. We talked running backs, we talked Aaron Hernandez, and now it's time to talk a little draft. So we're going to welcome in Ben Natan to break down a little bit of draft business for us after this break. We'll be right back.
Not all ingredients are created equal. Fresh, high-quality ingredients make a real difference, so it's important to know where your food comes from. I know that me personally, when I was living in a college dorm, I used Blue Apron in order to get my fresh ingredients so that me and my roommate Jack could cook up some nice meals, maybe some fresh steaks, maybe some good chili, some quality stuff. And it's also a very fun holiday gift, so maybe for a nice Valentine's Day gift or a nice birthday gift coming up, I wouldn't give it to a girlfriend. Obviously, Blue Apron would be a little rough, but give it to a family member. Maybe they can get some high-quality ingredients in their life. For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Blue Apron knows that when you cook with incredible ingredients, you make incredible meals, so they set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron is bringing you the best. So check out this week's menu. Get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. Go to blueapron.com/Patriots. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Patriots. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Hey, Ben, can you hear me? Good. All right, perfect. We are on the recorder. All right, we'll get right into this because I know you're a busy man.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, sure. All right, I'll do a quick intro, and then we'll be good to go. Yeah. Welcome back into Patriots Beat. It is now time for a featured guest segment. This week we are very happy to finally welcome in Ben Natan, one of the best draft nicks you will find on all of Twitter. He's also a columnist for the Philadelphia Eagles SB Nation Bleeding Green blog and their radio host as well, correct?
Yeah, I do some work on their Bleeding Green Nation radio thing, mostly doing draft work. I wouldn't call myself a host, though. That would be John Barchard, who does great work over there.
Okay, for sure. But definitely one of the icons. I haven't bought one of your shirts yet, but I've certainly considered it.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if that's ever like a compliment or or an insult. Somewhere in between,
Somewhere in between, for sure. But one of the things that you've been crazy busy with so far this offseason, Ben, has been just an unbelievable amount of scouting reports that you have been releasing in and out of the NFL offseason that we've had here. So first thing that I kind of want to ask you about, who's a guy that everyone currently has in the first round or projected to go in the first round that you just think are completely crazy?
All right. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I think, are being talked about as first-round picks and who will probably end up being first-round picks who I don't necessarily agree with them going that high. A guy like John Allen, I think, is a good example of a player who, he was really successful in college. Alabama moved him around the formation quite a bit. Particularly had a lot of success playing inside, but at 285 pounds, you're not going to have that same level of success in the NFL unless you're an elite athlete, which like an Aaron Donald, undersized defensive tackles who have been so good. But he doesn't have that same level of athleticism, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the legs to consistently play on the outside either. So you're going to have to kind of find this versatile role for him in the NFL where he's kind of moving around. He's more of a complementary piece rather than a guy who spearheads your defense. I compared him to Pernell McPhee when I wrote him up a couple of weeks ago, who's become a really solid player in the NFL. But McPhee was a 6th-round pick at Mississippi State. I think Allen's more like of an early day 2 guy who can really complement your defense well, but I wouldn't draft him as being like a centerpiece.
And, there's a couple of the guys in this draft towards the end of the first round, especially at the cornerback position that, you just see these guys start to trickle down. I mean, especially after Sidney Jones went down with that injury, you have that guy from Colorado who some people don't know if he's a top 20 pick or if he's a day 3 pick. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think I assume you're referring to. I mean, there's two really good Colorado corners. There's Chidobe Awuzie and Akella Wood.
Yeah, Chidobe, the one that was invited to the draft, which still confuses me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just comes from the simple formula of like you have a really prototypically sized cornerback in Akella Weatherspoon who tested very well at the combine, had a lot of really good on-ball production while he was at Colorado. He had 23, I think, pass defenses in his most recent season. So I mean, the NFL has like different, types, like archetypes, player archetypes that they fall for. So the long, athletic corner with ball skills will always get attention from the league. I actually like Witherspoon, maybe not as a first-round pick, but definitely a guy I would take a look at in the second round.
So let's kind of switch that around then. Who's a guy that isn't currently being projected to go in the first round that you think could sneak in somewhere within the last 5 or 10 picks?
I'm a really big fan of two edge rushers. I'm going to say Jordan Willis and Derek Rivers are two guys who don't get talked about. It's interesting. I mean, Rivers makes playing at the FCS level. But he had incredible production when he was at Youngstown, and then Willis, who was at Kansas State, was very productive. Both tested very well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Both tested very well in the combine, and those are guys Justin Allen or Tim Williams because they, not only are proven on the field, but also have the athletic ability that you really need at that position. And they proved that at the combine. So Rivers might kind of mix things. The Patriots currently really like Derek Rivers at the end of the first round. Matt Miller reported the other day that he might actually be a big 3 pick. But Jordan Willis, I definitely feel very strongly about the fact that he's going to be a first round.
Jordan Willis is actually a guy, when I asked Scott Karasik last week to pick a guy who he chose as his guy, he chose Jordan Willis emphatically. So I think you're on a good mindset right there. Who's a dude that you kind of look at that is projected right now inside of the top 10 that you think is going to be an absolute bust, who's just bad?
Ooh, that's tough. I am going to go with, I hate to do this to him, but I'm going to go with Mitch Trubisky just because I think that, he's a talented quarterback. He's accurate, but when you look at a guy who's only had 1 year starter experience, his team regressed under Marquise Williams. UNC was more productive. They won more games, and they regressed under Mitch Trubisky. And I think that's a big, or Mitchell, I guess it's officially Mitchell now. The big red flag when you're evaluating quarterbacks to see that kind of team regression when a guy comes in and just his lack of experience, and then he's just a raw player. I mean, he's inconsistent in terms of his footwork, his mechanics. It affects his accuracy. It affects his arm strength. And then he's inconsistent when he deals with pressure. I mean, he has brilliant moments, and I can see those highlighted moments that people kind of fall in love with. But just to project that or extrapolate that out to being, a quarterback prospect, I don't agree with that. And if he gets that pressure put on him early in the process, which he probably will if he's picked very high, he's going to end up busting, unfortunately.
So let's go to exactly to pick 32, which, if you're the Patriots right now, probably their target pick for when, if and most likely when Malcolm Butler gets traded. So at that pick of 32, what do you think the Patriots could be looking for? Is there a certain guy that really piques your interest?
Well, trade Malcolm Butler, they should easily turn around and see what quarterback prospect they could get out of this class. And, it's really hard to gauge where these guys are going to go in the first round just because there are so many of these cornerback prospects. So, but I would love to see a guy like Tre'Davious White in that defense. I think he's a very good upper corner, very well opposite of Stephon Gilmore. If they wanted to go on offense, a guy like Evan Ingram, they've had issues with Ross being able to stay healthy and Marty B out of town. They might want to add another body to that tight end group and add Evan Ingram, the second best tight end in the class, just because the combination of speed and route running and catching ability. I think he's a little bit more polished than David Jugo. So having Ingram in the house, and I think he might fall just due to size, would be really good for the team.
Very nice. So, Ben, the last thing I got for you here before we let you go, because, again, still a very busy man. I've asked every single guy that we've had here on for the draft who their guy is. We've had Scott Karasik take Jordan Willis, like I said. Charles McDonald took Jaleel Johnson, as you would expect. And we had Justice take, I believe he took Deshaun Kaiser. And then we had Jared Brown from Niners Wire take Raekwon McMillan. So who is your guy?
Oh, that's a tough question. Well, out of a very talented group of guys, I'm probably going to have to go with Marcus Williams out of Utah, their free safety. Just everything you kind of want from a guy who's going to be playing deep down the field. He's athletic, he has good frame, very smart, rangy, big ball skills, and he's someone who, if you're allowing him to play center, so he's going to be able to create turnovers for your defense. Not the best tackler, but that's not exactly what you're going to be asking from him. And in the class where we talked so much about, Malik Hooker and his abilities to change the game as a defender, I think Williams kind of comes up in that. He should be mentioned in that same conversation because they win and lose in the same way, but Williams is more experienced, he's more polished in the regards that Malik gets complimented for.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for joining us on this one.
This is great.
And no problem. We're happy that we finally get you on. I know that we're both graduating pretty soon, so it's getting pretty hectic coming up here.
Yeah.
Let's go that.
But thank you so much for making time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, team, that's going to do it for this week's Page Speed podcast. Please remember to give us a rating and review on iTunes and Stitcher. You can find me on Twitter at CLNS_sportsteam. Please remember to give me a couple of messages here and there. I'd love to hear from you guys. I love interacting with all of you on Twitter, so keep them coming. And we'll next week or next Monday, we will be doing a big-time mock draft. So be on the lookout for that one. Going to be official Patriots Beat first round mock draft. First half of the show will be the first 16 picks. Second half of the show will be the last 16 picks. Maybe we'll have a guest on. I haven't determined yet. Might just do a mock draft for myself.